Hey, what's up? I just realized yesterday or earlier this week that I had never done a video where I showed like my own personal PT for ankle issues. And despite the fact that I've had surgery on this ankle, once in a while I will still have a flare-up, and I've got one going on right now. It's like you kind of wake up in the morning, it's like one day it's fine, the next day it's not. Especially if you do a lot of walking on it, you can wake up in the morning and you can have an achy ankle. So that's what I've got today. Last week I actually had a bad flare-up of pain in my knee. I've actually got a Baker's cyst in my knee and also another cyst in my calf that have kind of been there for years, and I've got some tendon tearing in here, all just kind of a consequence of just general activity and stuff over a period of years. And the last time I went to my doctor about my knee, he actually recommended that there would be a possibility that I could get a surgery done on that. But the problem is with cysts, they tend to like grow back if you take them out. But he said that there was something he could do to maybe like cut off the blood supply and so I wouldn't have any more pain in my knee. But that's down the road. I'm not wanting to think about doing any more surgeries right now. So. Anyway, I realized I had never done a PT video like showing what I do for sprained ankle recovery, and I don't, have an active sprain, but my ankle has like been hurting all day, so I'm doing some of these things today. If you've ever been to PT or are familiar with how PT works, if you are if you've gone to a PT clinic, generally PT is really only effective or really wholly necessary for people who've been like in a bad accident where they had a blunt force trauma. They had a badly broken leg, they had a dislocated knee, they might have had a dislocated spine, they may have like slammed into the steering wheel after slamming on the brakes and breaking their leg, and then they put their hand out like in front of them, the natural tendency to do that upon impact of two or more cars. I'll never forget, I saw a car accident like happening one time, and the poor driver, he walked away from it. I mean, not like fled the scene, but he got out of his car and like he walked out of his car and he was just like this with his wrist, like, oh, So this is what they do in PT. If you've got something really bad, PT can help you. So if you just got like, chronic sprains or something and your doctor sends you to PT, then they're going to put you through like the sprained ankle regimen, and it's kind of like a cookie cutter formula type thing. They don't really personalize it for every patient. It's just kind of an off-the-shelf sort of thing. But one thing that they do in addition to like balance exercises, and they have you go on to like it looks like the planet Saturn. This thing, it's like got a ball in the center. It looks like the planet Saturn with the ring around it. They have you go onto the Saturn little thing and do like balance training on both feet to get your whatever ankle, whichever your ankles is injured. But they also issue you these bands. Now they've got different strengths of the bands, and I think this is like one of the more vigorously, like this is like one of the thicker bands. They've got thin, medium, and thick, and maybe thicker or thickest ones. And they tell you, give you an instruction sheet. I actually just found this when I realized I never made a video about this before. They tell you the things that you need to do. So the main one that I have done in the past is literally writing the alphabet with my foot. So pulling on the band while you do it and just kind of pushing forward, and then writing A, B, I'm doing this backwards for the camera, C, and just do like some resistance, pull back on it, and then resist by pushing back. Natural part of life to resist. Okay, and then just go through and write the whole alphabet that way a couple times. That's really good. Also, just circular motion. And usually when you do PT, you take off, braces or wraps. Obviously, you don't do PT when you're still in a cast and on crutches. But I'm just leaving this wrap on because it aches right now. I just kind of don't want to take it off. But doing just like gas pedal type stuff. Gas pedal and circular motion. The interesting thing is it's easier to turn your ankle in a counterclockwise fashion like this than it is to do it in a clockwise way. But as far as anatomy goes, if you sprain an ankle, 9 out of every 10 sprains, I would say, is due to an inward sprain like this, like that. So your foot is like pointed in, you just like fall on it or whatever. It's rare that somebody has an eversion sprain, which would be like, I guess that, like your foot points outward like this way, but it's not impossible. And then there's a high ankle sprain that actually affects one of the other ankle ligaments that's not so often damaged. But that generally only happens if you're like running, and I've never had a high ankle sprain. I've only had low ankle sprain. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is calf stretches, and this is also helpful for my knee, which has been acting up as well. I'm not really having too much pain now, but last week I had my knee all wrapped up too, and now my ankle's killing me. So right leg really is not causing a problem right now, but this is what I need for my left leg. And just stand like this for like some seconds, like 30 seconds or whatever, and then switch. Okay, and then heel raises. This is a very important part of a PT workout if you've got an ankle sprain. PT raises. Just go up. This can get pain. I remember doing this after ankle surgery. It's like, oh, I've got to see how much this ankle can really take now. And I did a lot of these after that, just to get my range of motion back, to see how my range of motion was after that. If I was still feeling like my ankle was unstable and weak, and after surgery, finally, it didn't feel weak anymore. It felt really good. But this is a really important part of PT. And my doctor told me after I had the surgery, he said, no, I never send anybody for PT after this particular surgical procedure, because in PT they want to like get everything all loosened up, get the ligaments like loosened up, because after you have a trauma to your foot or ankle or really anything, your tendons and your ligaments are going to naturally contract. They're going to tighten up. But after the ligament repair surgery, where you get everything, you want to say nice and tight, because you don't want it like tight, but when you repair the damaged ligament anatomy, the damaged portion is cut out, and basically it's like the two parts are like fastened together, and so the ligaments are tight again, but not like rubber band tight or like squeezing type tight. But anyhow, so this is what you have to do, even if it hurts. I've got a little bit of pain right now, and that will be very, very helpful. And then of course, go back to doing some more stuff. Use the band. Yeah, it's a rubber band. It's a big old rubber band. So just doing more of these. And gas pedal. Give it some resistance. Give it a good amount of resistance. But I think it's really up to everybody to kind of do all this stuff at home. And even when you go to PT, they tell you got to do this every day at home. Don't just come here and this is the only time you do it in the PT clinic. No. But if you are really in trauma and with a bad accident, then doing this stuff at PT. I know one of my friends had a knee injury last year, and this guy is like not athletic at all, and he had a very bad knee injury, and he ended up going to PT like 3 times a week. And he said most of his at-home stuff involved using an exercise bike, and I don't have an exercise bike, and I never will, because I don't really find those things. Maybe if you've got a knee problem, exercise bike would be good, but for ankle problems, exercise bike is not going to help you. I've thought about getting a treadmill, but I just have never done that because they take up too much space, and It's like the road to hell is paved with really good intentions. So if you invest in one of those things, I guess you can get a used one, but if you invest in one of those things, like the good ones cost a whole lot of money. And then if you get one that's used or cheap or something like that, it's going to break down and you got to go buy parts or have somebody come in. So anyway, I've never done that. So that is my ankle guide. There are other things that you can do to get your ankle kind of back into shape, but I would say the simplest ones are really the best ones. All the ones that I showed, those have helped me in the past for years. And just like, you know, after you're out of a cast or whatever, while you're still on crutches or in the immobilization phase, obviously you're not going to be doing this. But after you get you know, braces off, out of a boot, out of a cast, then you've got to start doing these things on your own. And you really don't need to go to a PT clinic to do them. You can, you know, these bands that they issue at the PT clinic, you can get them online and stuff. So anyway, that's my personal routine for dealing with sprained or traumatic ankle problems. So that's the way I do these things. And of course, if you're experiencing too much pain, don't do them. I mean, if it starts to get painful, then you stop. But as long as you can do them, then eventually you do have to get back to walking and stuff. And when you go to a PT clinic, they're going to watch how you walk. They're going to ask to see you walking, like how you're doing, like with like if you've gotten your gait back, and if you're kind of still doing, you know, so kind of doing this, then they're going to say, okay, you got to do more of this stuff, and you got to do more of this stuff at home. So anyway, I hope you found this at least somewhat useful. And you know, I'm surprised that I never really shared these things before. I never really thought about it, but anyway, so that is my PT routine, my home PT routine for dealing with ankle problems.